Hi, it's Loretta West with Color Garden Studio, certified Zentangle teacher and all-around art gal. And today I'd like to share with you a little Tangle Tuesday tidbit. I'll be rolling this out in August. It's going to be the same project, just one little bit at a time for the next 5 weeks. So you're going to need some sort of watercolor paper or a Zentangle tile like this will be fine, any shape, any kind of tile that can take water. You also don't have to do this bit with the watercolor if you don't want to and go right into waiting for the actual tangling to start. This is up to you. You're going to need a watercolor brush, either the ones with the reservoir in them, or I have a Connoisseur 6 Taklon mixed with goat brush, which I really like, and 6 is the size, and it's a round shape watercolor brush. I have a goodly amount of water. Make sure that you have lots of water. Don't do a little cup because then your water gets muddy and you always have to change it. Try to get a proper good amount of water. So there's about like half a liter in there, which is good. And I have some watercolors. I have a Finetec transparent set of cake watercolors. You could use watercolor any way it comes, pencil form, ink tints, tubes, liquid, whatever you've got will work today. And I also have a set of Kuretake starry colors for bling and fun, and a spray bottle full of water. So pretty easy to start with. So what I like to do is get my paints activated. So I take, before I start anything, I open my paint box and I give them a good spray to get them juicy. Remember that the magic word for watercolor is water, not dry. So the more juice you can give them, more water you can give them so they soak it in, the juicier your color and more vibrant it will be. And then I'm going to do that with over here with these Kuretake colors. And that'll be ready. So if you want, you can take another piece of paper and test your colors. So you could turn your tile over or the back and just test your colors to see if they all play together. I just happen to know these do because I've done this before, just a couple times. So if you've got your brush, you want to make sure it's nice and wet all the way through. So you put it in and just give it a swirl, and then use your fingers to squeeze it out. So do that a few times and you know that the interior fibers are going to be nice and wet. So do that a few times. You're also going to want a piece of paper towel because it's good for catching drips and to water off your brush if it's too wet, or to dab if things get too wet. Handy thing to have. You can also use Kleenex or tissue, that will work too. So I'm going to get the surface wet with my spray bottle. You can use your brush as well and drip the water on like that. That will work too. But I find that the spray bottle is the most effective. But I don't want it dripping wet. You can see it's there. There's some droplets there. But I don't want it soaking wet. Okay. And I'm going to take my brush. Again, it's dampish. It's heavy damp, I'd call it. I'm going to go to the lightest color I choose, which is this yellow. I call it scary yellow. What do they call it? They just call it yellow. Okay, it's such a bright yellow. It's such a cool yellow, as in cool temperature. It could be cool in other ways too. And I'm just going to go in here and just smear it around. I'm not thinking, okay? Thinking mine's gone. I don't know where it went. It's at the grocery store buying groceries. And just gonna smear on some yellow. I'm gonna change my color. So I'm gonna clean my brush off a little bit. Clean it off and then clean it on the paper towel. So it's a clean brush. Then we introduce another color. And where should we go? What should we do? I could go to the scary green, or I could go to the orange. Let's try this orange. And just, you know, it might look really intense to you and you go, oh, that's too much. Well, remember that watercolor dries 30% lighter. So don't fret too fast. You can also, if it's too much, you can go in there with your clean part of your paper towel and blot off a little bit. Just give it a little blotting, and that also leaves it a little texture, if you can see that. It's just too much orange, oh no. Okay, and I might add a third color. I might just leave it the way it is. I think I'm gonna leave it. I was gonna do 3 colors, but we're gonna do just the orange and yellow today. So you can decide, and you can make a whole bunch of these. So you can put them on a sheet of paper, watercolor paper, and just do a whole big sheet and then cut them up after, and then tangle on them. Or you could do the tiles laid out and just have fun. It's a fun thing to do, especially if you can be outside on a summer's day and let them dry naturally. Just be prepared that depending on your humidity, they might dry a little faster than you think. So you have to work pretty fast. So I'm going to use the Kuretake color now. This is number 903, which is a lovely gold. Look at that. It's just, oh, it's unctuous. And I'm going to just get my tile wet again because I could dry it off a little bit. And I'm just going to introduce some of this here and there. You can't really see it probably in the camera, but it is beautiful. I'm just going to do this here and there, maybe around more towards more towards the edges, seeing as I can see the edges are pretty devoid of paint. I'm leaving some white spots though. Don't forget to leave a little white spot here and there. Okay, and then if I'm happy with that, which I am, and I'm just going to tilt it, tilt it so you can see the sheen there. So it's still wet, but you can also see the gold in there. And I'm going to move my paints to the side and get out my trusty old hair dryer. So you can leave them to dry naturally. That's just fine. Or you can help them along with an air gun or an hair dryer. I like this old hair dryer because it's lost its heat setting. So you don't want to dry it on heat. It will crack the surface of the watercolor. You don't want that. So maybe you do, but I don't want that. So I'm going to just do that and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so now it's pretty well dry, and the way you tell is you take your finger. Now you can use the pads of your fingers to test, but then usually when that happens, you get little fingerprints on your piece, which you may want, or it also leaves oils from your fingers pads on the paper. So I like to use the back of my hand. And if it feels cool to the touch, then it's still damp and it needs more time to dry. So this one's a little dampish, so I will be putting it aside to dry before I tangle on it. And but you can see how much lighter it is compared to when we put down the paint, or I put down the paint. It's got quite a bit lighter. It's got, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got some nice shimmer going on there in here and here and here where the Kuretake paint is. So that's today's lesson for your Tangle Tuesday tidbit. And tune in next week for the next installation of this little video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.